Hi, my name is Nikki Morrow with To the Moon and Back Behavioral Consulting, and my job is to make your lives as parents easier in the day-to-day. So today I am going to give you 4 steps to being your child's confident leader and to building emotional resilience. So, parenting is the hardest job that we will ever have, and it's really important that we find our place as our child's confident leader, meaning that we know what to do and how to have their back in the hard times, that we won't get flustered, that we won't get, we won't let our feelings interfere with being the leaders that they need us to be in those times. We won't let our fear of being hated by them or being, upsetting them stop us from standing up and showing them what's appropriate and what's not and setting those boundaries. And with that, we really need to have that confidence and that security about us that we are in fact acting in our child's best interest, and that everything that we're doing everything that we do may not be exactly the right thing, but as long as it comes from a place of love, it comes from a place of trying to do the best and keeping your child safe, that is what they feel. So that is the important thing, is that none of us are perfect. None of us are going to do the right thing every single time, and if you're like me, you're going to question yourself a heck of a lot, but that's just human nature, and that just means that you're doing it right? So that is the biggest thing, is to make sure that you're not necessarily holding your child's hand through life, but you are their security net, and you give them that power and the confidence to go out there and do things, because they know that if ever anything were to happen, you're there for them. You're their security net. And that's a powerful position to have in your child's life, is to be able to give them that freedom and that independence to be able to go and explore the world and decide who they are and face their fears. But they know that mommy and daddy will be there, to have their back. And that's what's important to communicate. So the 4 steps that I'm going to talk about today. So the first one is have empathy and compassion for your child. So recognizing that they're little, they're new to this world, they can't process things as quickly as we can. They're bombarded with all these new things constantly, things that we've had years to be able to, deal with and learn how to suppress and learn how to emotionally regulate. They haven't had that time. So if you can really just change your perspective of, this isn't simply a tantruming child, this is a child that needs my support right now, and they're not doing this just to upset me or to push my buttons or to manipulate me. They're doing this because they have an actual need, and I am here to support them through it. So that is that's important to know, is that they're just human, and they're little humans. So be kind to them, have empathy. And trust me, my little one gets under my skin sometimes, so I get it. But if we can really just take a deep breath and realize that they're just little, they're just learning, they don't know everything that we know, and meet them with patience and understanding. So the second step is to let your child express themselves in a safe way. So what that means is that you give them room, you hold the space for them to have these big feelings, because a lot of times it's not about the issue at hand. It seems to us ridiculous, and so we get upset because they're tantruming over the red cup or the blue cup, but it's really not about that. It's typically about they're feeling powerless, they're not feeling seen or heard or appreciated, and or they're just really going through a hard time, or they had a really bad experience earlier in the day that maybe scared them or confused them, and they don't know how to process it. So it's coming out in this way. So if you can, again, change your perspective, it's not about manipulation. It's not about tantruming and just pushing buttons. It's really about a bigger issue, a bigger need at that point in time. So yeah, I mean, I hear a lot of times parents ask me, why is it that my kid is an angel at school? And then when they get home to me, they're like the complete opposite, And what I tell parents is, as much as it stinks, and I know it does, it's because you're their safe place. It's because they feel safe to let those feelings out in front of you. And if you can embrace that privilege of being that for them, and again, change the perspective to that, it is a privilege that they feel this safe, and that they know they are so loved and supported by me, that they can be this way, and they know that I won't turn away from it, that I'll stay with them and I'll support them through it and help them process these feelings. That is, again, a very powerful position to take as a parent. That is something that is going to serve you through the growth of your child. And come the teenage years, when they're rebelling and their knee-jerk reaction is to pull away, if you've done this groundwork, if you've laid this foundation, they'll be a lot less likely to be that teenager that locks themselves in the room and doesn't talk to you at all, that shuts you out completely, because you'll have done the foundation for this open communication, this open dialogue, this mutual love and respect that you're showing them, and compassion for their feelings and their input in the situation, what they're going through. So the third tip is to validate your child's feelings. So, a lot of times I tell parents, when the child is very, very little, they may not have the vocabulary to know if they're sad or mad or frustrated or what it is. So you can kind of help them by labeling the feeling that you're seeing and attaching it to some sort of physical manifestation that you see in them, so that they can start relating what's going on in their body with what the label is for that emotion. But even then, as children get older and they have those words, they may not be able to access them in these high emotional, intense situations. So again, just being able to hold the space for them, be able to, when they get older and they have the vocabulary, you don't want to say, oh, you're feeling angry, oh, you're feeling mad, because then you might be projecting how you would be feeling onto them. You want to be able to ask them questions, to be like, oh, I see that, you have tears coming down your face. Are you sad? Are you feeling sad? Or how are you feeling? And why do you think you're feeling that way? So questions to kind of get them to start, they say that the parent's voice, or how we talk to our kids, is how they will talk to themselves. That is kind of like, we can make that a negative thing or a positive thing. In this way, if you make it a positive thing, you're kind of giving them those reflecting questions that will build their emotional resilience going forth. So so sticking to what you see is critical. Making sure that you are not, putting it out there as to like how you would be feeling, or projecting your feelings onto them. Just really clearly sticking to what you can physically see is the best way to go about sitting and holding the space for those type of feelings. So fourth step is to be calm and respectful when enforcing boundaries. So that means that basically, you don't want to let your child see that they're getting a rise out of you. You want to be able to, as calmly and confidently, set these boundaries. Try not to do it out of anger, try not to do it out of frustration, because then your motivation will be interpreted and it will seem like you're punishing them rather than setting a boundary. So if you can, just really muster up the courage to calm yourself down and very nonchalantly, very calmly enforce that boundary or enforce that consequence with them. And that's the best way to go about it, because once they see that they get a rise out of you, all of a sudden they were like, wow, I am really powerful. Look at what I just did to my mom. Whoa. And then they're going to keep doing that, right? They're going to keep trying to get that power, especially if it's a dynamic where they're feeling unseen and unheard, and they don't get a lot of choices, and they're told what to do a lot. They are going to use that type of power any second that they can get to try to get a rise out of you. And teenagers are notorious for this, especially for parents that have been more of an authoritarian type of parenting, where it's very strict and it's very my way or the highway. You can expect some major teenage rebellion coming your way. So let's try to change that and make sure that you guys really do take these steps and process them and try to really open this communication and make it a respectful back and forth situation, rather than just you talking as a parent. Have a dialogue with your child, and again, ask them those questions. Those probing questions, so that they'll learn to ask themselves those questions to be able to process their feelings and become more emotionally resilient down the end of the line. So, and then when you do, go ahead and act more nonchalant when you're enforcing these boundaries, what happens is this power struggle that they were trying to engage you in can't happen. It takes two people to have a power struggle, right? Two people to play tug of war, at least. So if you kind of relinquish that and just act nonchalant, who are they going to fight with? They can't. So that is a really helpful strategy. So that is those are my tips for today. I hope that you found them helpful, and we'll be able to apply them moving forward. So a little tidbit that came to me today in regards to this is the children's book, Bear Hunt. It's also a song. And in the story, basically a family goes through and does this little, this bear hunt. They go on a bear hunt, and they have to go through all these different types of obstacles: the forest, the mud, the grass, the tall grass. And basically what it says in it over and over again is you can't go over it, you can't go under it, you have to go through it. So really, I kind of tied that into, it's the same thing with emotions. And if you have that book at home, and you can start making that connection for your child, and let them know that, in order to process emotions, you have to go from there's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end. And there's absolutely no emotion, no feeling that can kill you, that can hurt you. It's a lot of, what you make it mean and what you think about it. So put the power on them, that they can choose how they feel about certain situations. And it's the same thing with us. It's a lot of mind work of, that person made me feel this way, and now I'm upset. It's really recognizing, like, that person did what they did, and I thought this, and I made it mean this, and now I am hurt. So in essence, you hurt yourself. I know that's kind of out there, but it really is something that we can teach our kids and really empower them now. Like, I wish I had that information when I was little. Life would have been so much easier, and I would have felt so much less victimized my whole life, right? It's so easy to feel victim rather than taking the power and the control. But when we have that power and control, it's awesome. So let's give that to our kids, that power and the control, and that knowledge that they have to go through these emotions. We can't just stuff them in a corner and forget about them, because what that leads to in adulthood is anxiety and depression. And we don't want that for our kids. We want them to be able to process these emotions and come out on the other side and know that there is another side. So Yeah, that was my little tie-in to the Bear Hunt song and book. So yeah, if you found this helpful, please like it, share it with whomever you think will benefit from it, and join me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube if you're watching me there. Also, my website is To the Moon and Back, parentcoaching.com. If you'd like any more information about me or how to work with me, I'd love to hear from you. To join my community of proactive parents, you can also do that, and you'll get my weekly support in your email box. And if you, for some reason, would like to ask me any questions and or schedule a mini session, I would love that. So feel free to do that as well. There should be a link in my on my website, or you can message me or email me to do that. So take care and have a fabulous day. Bye-bye.